Is Ironsight still worth playing? Ironsight is a fast-paced, free-to-play first-person shooter that came out on Steam in 2019, but is this Call of Duty lookalike still worth playing? I'll be going over things like the player count, new updates, and I've actually been playing this game since 2020, so I'll be talking about my experience. For those of you who are new to Ironsight, it's a very simple game to get into. This is a budget version of Call of Duty, and when I say budget, I mean budget. Yes, it's a free-to-play COD, but it's a little rough around the edges. You do have a lot of the things you would expect from Call of Duty, like kill streaks, custom classes, and just that fast-paced gameplay. I actually really like the gunplay and how the guns feel. It can just be held back by things like the not as good optimization. And the most infamous thing people have been reasonably complaining about is the netcode. It just makes it so the experience isn't as smooth as it should be. To be honest, it doesn't feel like it affects the game all of the time. It could just be annoying when it does happen. But man, that old school arcadey COD feeling of the gameplay is what kept me on this game for so long. It was like a breath of fresh air after not playing COD for a while. I personally stopped caring about COD since after Black Ops 4, so I noticed Ironsight had a good time for me. All of these badass guns from Modern Warfare and Black Ops with the classic score streak system and these simple to small medium-sized maps, this game just hit a sweet spot for me. There's also a decent amount of progression if you want a reason to keep playing. Of course, there's daily challenges and different currencies that you need, but there's also in-game achievements that earn you a lot of currency or some cool items. I kinda wish these were also Steam achievements, but there's a lot of long-term in-game achievements to keep you playing. There's a fair amount of progression you can get out of this game for free, but if you're like me and took this game a little more seriously, then it wasn't enough. That's when the good old battle passes come in. And when I say good old battle passes, I mean stupidly expensive and bullshit grindy battle passes. I can go into a whole rant about these things, but I made 3 videos where I talk about my experience with the 3 battle passes I bought back in the day, so check those out if you want. To sum it up, the battle passes should have been good motivation to keep playing, but they're too grindy and ask a lot from you if you want to complete it, whether that's overly committing your time to the game or committing your wallet. It hurts me to admit this, and I know my people will be disappointed in me, but I spent nearly $100 on just the battle passes in Ironsight. If I count the old version of this game that screwed me over, I spent a little over $100 on Ironsight. If you don't know about that older version of Ironsight, you can watch the beginning of this video. But yeah, I spent a pretty penny on this game. I'm not proud to admit it, but I think my playtime and me making videos on this game justifies all that, right? I did make a few videos talking about my experience and how many hours I had, but at the time of this video, I have about 450 hours of playtime. Who knows, maybe one day I'll make that 500-hour review. But since I do have all this playtime, it gives me a reason to show you my stats and combat record. But take note that about 100 of my hours is not on this account because they lost my old account with that 100 hours. But you know I'm rocking with the cool 1.5 KD and that 2.0 KDA. Not too crazy, but I don't suck, right? I played a good amount of matches and I have an okay win rate. Of course I'd like to blame the skill-based matchmaking on my win rate. I mean, just look at my most used weapons. Do you see any negative KDs in there? I sure as hell don't. And if you look at my most used drones, I prefer supporting the team instead of using the offensive drones. I have a positive KD and I support the team. Can you believe how goddamn cool I am? I'm just not cool enough to play ranked. You can also see some random stats like all my kills and victories. I mainly play TDM, but I used to play a good amount of Secure Point. I enjoy dying for the objective. And I guess I can show you the collection weapons, but even after all this time in making this progress, I still never got one. It never felt worth spending the chips to get one cool skin, when I could spend my chips on the battle pass to get even more cool skins. Don't let the collection weapons fool you. But that's about all of the stats and swag I can show you, other than some sick skins. You have a good idea of the game about now, but is it still worth playing? Well, I'm gonna answer that for a new player and a returning player. For a new player, hell yeah, this game is worth playing. It's free, and if it looks like your type of game, then you have nothing to lose. As long as you can run this game and don't impulse buy a bunch of skins, I don't see why not. But for returning players like me, Oh boy, we got a few things to get into. First of all, there's not that many new things to get excited about. I do like how you could put any silencer on any weapon, and they added some new weapons and new game modes, and the main screen looks a little different, and even the hit markers are a little different. But there's no new map. Actually, they just released a new map as I'm making this video, funny enough, but it still took them nearly 2 years to release a new map, so even if it's a good map, it's too little too late. There just isn't that many new things to keep a returning player invested in the game again. That's not a problem for new players, and I think the game can be entertaining for a couple hundred hours of playtime until you want something more, and like I said earlier, that's where the battle passes come in. It ties back to the battle passes because it seems like that's the developer's main focus, and I wouldn't have a problem with that if they weren't so grindy or expensive to complete. This might sound like one small thing, but it's the one thing that stops me from consistently playing this game. I just wish I can play a few games every day, do some challenges, and complete the battle pass in time without spending extra money. That's what I'm able to do with every other battle pass in other games that I've played, but that's simply not enough for Ironsight's battle passes. It feels like you have to play like 10 games every day to fully complete the battle pass. And I don't recommend this being anyone's main game, so obviously I wasn't playing that many games a day, but I even played a bunch of EMP missions which were kind of boring, but felt necessary for the damn battle pass. And I recently bought the battle pass for season 11 because I had some extra premium currency laying around, but I couldn't be bothered to keep playing after noticing the progression is still slow. I know I've been talking about it a lot, but if you ignore the battle pass, then you're ignoring a good amount of this game's new content and updates. They do have a fair amount of events, but I wish they had better updates with more content to keep the people interested. The battle pass for season 12 is coming out, and I'm sure it's out by the time you guys watch this, but even if they updated the game and made the progression better, I just couldn't be bothered at this point. It'd be too little too late. I've kinda already moved on. You see, I've already been playing this other first-person shooter called Shatterline, and for the simple reason that the battle pass is more reasonable in that game, I'd rather put my time into that game instead of Ironsight. It is what it is, bitch. Okay, Ironsight isn't a bad game, it just isn't good enough to not be replaced. I haven't played this game in a year, and I've been playing since 2020, so I feel like I gave this game enough time to improve, and it just hasn't felt worth the wait. I'm sure I'll check out this game from time to time and make a video on it, but I don't plan on making it to 500 hours anytime soon, even though I'm so close, and I know I'm not the only one who feels this way about the game. Just look at the player count. It's not too bad, but it's not too good. There's never that high of a peak, but it never goes so low that it's completely unplayable. The biggest hype Ironsight ever had was in the beginning in 2019, but it gets up to 1,000 player peaks on a good month. You see, these are the type of numbers where it depends on the type of game if they're terrible or not. For a battle royale, that's not so good, but for a 6v6 COD style of game, it's manageable. It doesn't take too long to find a game. I only play TDM, and it can take about 30 seconds to 5 minutes to find a game, somewhere in between, but there's usually only 1 or 2 lobbies per game mode, so you'll bump into the same people a lot. This is where the player count can be more of a problem because there's a fair amount of sweaty and high-leveled players on the game. To be fair, there's a nice amount of new and lower-leveled players on the game. It can just be a gamble or depend on what time you play. I just get a bit of that vibe that you better learn the game and get good quickly, or you might get wrecked. Good thing this is a simple game to learn and not the hardest to master. I don't recall running into any hackers like some people claim, but don't be surprised if someone keeps anally wrecking you. I remember when I was going through that honeymoon phase and this was a COD killer to me for a couple of years. It was fun unlocking all the different weapons and learning the fun, simple maps and looking at all the achievements for long-term progression. Hell, I even used to be excited for the battle passes, believe it or not. But all of that is behind me now. Ironsight was a good, long, and hard journey while it lasted. It's one of my most played Steam games even till this day. And I'm not saying I'll never play it again, I just remember my prime time with this game. It would be nice if they one day updated the battle pass's progression and I could finally make that 500-hour review. But who knows? I'm moving on to big and better things, and I'm passing this game on to the new players. You guys keep the lobbies casual. We don't want to see as many of these type of players. Even though I'm one of them and some of us suck. But be sure to check out Ironsight if it looks interesting to you. I know I said a lot of negatives, but the pros outweigh the cons to me for a long time. I know it might look pretty generic and the graphics aren't anything special. It doesn't help that I play on low graphics settings, but this game and the journey is a little special to me. My time with this game taught me how it can just be with indie games sometimes. Things aren't always perfect and you shouldn't expect too much so you don't disappoint yourself. Now it feels even better when other games like Shatterline have more meaningful updates. Either way, I'm interested to know your history with Ironsight or just what you think about it. Drop a comment letting me know. If you really do like this game, or at least for making it this far in the video, I'd definitely appreciate a like. You're already a top percentage viewer, so you should keep up that behavior. And don't forget to subscribe if you've been enjoying the videos. I don't upload too much, so I won't blow up your sub feed, so you might as well subscribe. I don't only upload Ironsight videos, but if you want to see more, you can check on the screen. I'm sure I'll check out this game sometime in the future, but will it be a glorious 500-hour review? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.